my mom and dad met in Brooklyn. My mom came, she lived in Glens Falls, came from a family of 10. Her mother had died in childbirth. Her father had married again, and that woman died in childbirth, and then he married another woman. Didn't have any children by her, thank God, because her son from another marriage was so ugly. Oh my God, he put his face in the window and my mother screamed. She told me this. His name was George. Anyway, they had met in Brooklyn and they had a fight. And my mother left Brooklyn and came back to Glens Falls. My grandfather had a little grocery store, and he was from Syria, so he spoke broken English. And my mother ran back home. My father followed. He was only 19, my mother was 21. So he came up here and he comes in the store and my grandfather says, "What do you want?" He says, "I want Sarah." "You want Sarah, huh? What are you going to do with Sarah?" In his broken Arab language. He says, "I want to marry." "You want to marry my Sarah?" Well, he finally loved my father and he wanted him to open up a gas station next door and put him in business and all that. Well, they did get married. I was born up here. My father went to go to the recreation field to see a ball game because they always played ball in the streets. And he was a two-sewer man, if you know what that means. He could bat it to the second sewer. He walked all the way up to the recreation field. There was no game. He walked all the way back and he said, "Pack up, we're going." He packed up and they went back to Brooklyn. My mother was so scared to meet the Italian family because she was Syrian. She wasn't Italian, and she was older than he. And they had had a child by then, me. But my mother was smart. When she saw my grandmother and my aunt standing like this in the hallway, ready, she gave me to my grandma. And I was the first grandchild, first granddaughter, so I was pure. So I was it for my grandma. So anyway, we lived there for a long time and lived in a brownstone. And I would have to go upstairs to the third floor to get something. My uncle would say, "Go up and get my shirt for me." Oh, I was scared because up on the third floor was the attic. And there was a ladder that was against the wall, and it went straight up. And there was a big opening in the wall with a Saint Mary. Oh my God, I was scared. So I'd go up the steps, go up from the basement, up the dark steps, up the other steps, go down the front steps, out of the house, go run up Sackett Street, call my girlfriend Marie. "Marie, you got to come with me. We got to go upstairs and get whatever." So Marie would come and we'd go up and get whatever I had to get. Oh my God, it was awful. Scared all the time because I knew there was somebody up in that attic who's going to get me. But anyway, I got to make this short. A couple of weeks ago, we went to Brooklyn. We moved and came to Glens Falls, and my mother and father divorced, and he married a couple times. And we went to Brooklyn, but I had my daughters with me. And I said, "I want to show you where I lived in Brooklyn." So they took me to the house. I said, "There's the house." And that's where Marie used to sit down there on the big bench, and I would sing Stormy Weather up on the stoop. And I'd say, "No, Marie, I have to sing it again." And I'd sing it again, and my Aunt Mary would say, "You sing it one more time, Jeannie, I'll show you Stormy Weather." So I had to cut that short. And I had a boyfriend, his name was Gussie. And we had a big factory across the street, and Gussie would, where they have the loading dock, he'd lay there and he'd sing, "I met her by the city of the roses." My Uncle Johnny slept in the other bedroom, and I slept in this bedroom. He'd say, "He sing that one more time, I'll show him the river of the roses." Well, anyway, we went to Brooklyn, and I brought my girls this time. And I was across the street, and I was looking at the brown house, and I said, "That's where I used to live, and that's my bedroom." And the woman come out the window, and she said, "What are you guys doing?" And I said, "Oh, I used to live here. Oh, how's Joanna? How's Joanna? Joanna moved 20 years ago. It's my cousin. I said, oh, that's my cousin. She's fine. She's living in Jersey now. So she peeked in, and she went back in her window. And I said to my daughters, do you want to see the school I went to? They said, yes. Okay, come on, let's go. So we went over the canal, over the bridge from the canal. The Kiwanis Canal was there, and it stunk terrible. But it was a little cleaner that day. We went up to see my school, and there was a little difference because now there was a baseball court and a tennis court, and we never had that. And so we went around, and I saw PS32, and I let out a scream because I thought, oh, by this time maybe they'd have changed it. So I went in, and it was different, and there were 2 guards there. And my daughter said, my mother came here as a kid. Can she go through the halls? And they said yes. So we went through, and it was all different because we used to have the chalkboards. You'd have to slide them, and we had to wear white with red bow, and the boys would have to wear a red tie and a white shirt. And if they didn't have them, the teachers would have them for them because it was a poor section, and they didn't have white shirts and all that. But I'd go up there during assembly, and I was so proud of me because I'd say 3 colors through, red, white, and blue. Anyway, I took the kids through it, and a lot of things were changed, but the water fountains were still there, and they were long and porcelain, and a little faucet here and a little faucet here for the kids to drink on. But anyway, that's my story. And my kids liked it, and then we went to, anybody heard of Two Toms? Two Toms in Brooklyn? No? Well, it's famous for their hot dogs. So I said, we have to go to Two Toms. It's up on 3rd Avenue. So we went up on 3rd Avenue, had our hot dogs and black mussels. And I took them home, the black mussels. They smelled all the way coming home. That's all right. I got them for my son. He's going to eat them. And home we went. But that's my story.